Greetings everyone and welcome to my home. I'm Peter Updike and tonight we're going to be talking about the Withlacoochee State Forest. This is my Withlacoochee State Forest buck. I killed him shouting distance from the Withlacoochee River, and I'm real proud of him. He's a great deer. He's a mainframe 10-point. He's a little less than 15 inches wide. He's 5.5 years old, a good mature Florida buck, and I'm real proud of him. I killed this deer on public land in the Withlacoochee State Forest. Tonight we'll go over some of the management areas of the Withlacoochee State Forest. We'll go over habitat, we'll go over where you can hunt and when you can hunt, and method of take. So it's my opinion that the Withlacoochee State Forest in Central Florida offers some of the best deer hunting, hog hunting, and turkey hunting that the state of Florida has to offer. And if you live nearby this area, as I do, you should be taking advantage of what's there, because not only is the hunting great, but it's a beautiful place. Dramatically beautiful. The river's beautiful, the flooded timber is beautiful. I just love it. I love the Withlacoochee State Forest, and if I didn't hunt, I would still enjoy hiking and bike riding and doing all the things that you can do outside there in the forest. So there's a lot of trails that you can hike, and again, there are several management areas in the Withlacoochee, and we'll talk about them today. Okay, so where is the Withlacoochee River? Again, it's in Central Florida. It emerges out of the green swamp. The Withlacoochee River and the Little Withlacoochee flow north, and they emerge out of the green swamp, which is found in Polk County and in Lake County, and flows up into Sumter County, and I think a little bit of it's in Hernando County as well, and then flows north from Sumter all the way up into Marion County, and so it covers a large area. All right. The habitat that you can find in the Withlacoochee State Forest is some of my favorite habitat. Would be the cabbage palm swamp. It's what I call a cabbage palm swamp. You'll find a variety of trees in the cabbage palm swamp. I don't find that hard to say, so I'm not going to say that anymore. Okay, but you get the idea that the palm trees that are found in this swamp, and the large oak trees, there are live oak trees and laurel oak trees, and these oak trees create a habitat that, and the cypress trees, that create kind of a hardwood island. There will be sloughs that go through. That's the kind of habitat I killed this deer in. But also, some of the management areas are reclaimed ranches, and these ranches had pastures, and of course the state of Florida is trying to reclaim them and bring them back into their wild state. Also, upland. They have a lot of upland pines and palmetto flats and that sort of thing. Not so much though as the cabbage palm swamp. That's probably the most dominant habitat that I like that you can find there, and you can find that habitat in almost all of the management areas. So let's talk about management areas. Let's talk about the WMAs. Now, when we talk about management areas, we're talking about different places to hunt within the Withlacoochee State Forest. Each of these places have their own set of rules and regulations. You can't go to the regulation book, all right, and read the state regulation and apply it to the management areas, all right. Every management area has a brochure, and on that brochure tells the dates, the method of take, and the legal requirements that you need to meet in order to hunt it. Kind of like a quota permit. You'll need a quota permit for some of these, and you'll have to apply. When those become available, you'll need to go to fwc.com and find out how to apply. Some of these places you don't need a quota permit, but you'll always need a hunting license. You'll always need a management area stamp, and if you're going to be turkey hunting, you'll need a turkey permit. So you'll get a sportsman's gold license, right? If you get a sportsman's gold license, that covers everything. That covers the muzzle loader, that covers the deer permit, that covers the turkey permit, and on and on and on it goes. So that's what I buy. All right, it's got my management area permit, it's got my hunting license, I think it's got a fishing license and a saltwater license. So I'm covered whatever I personally do with the Sportsman's Gold license. So some of the management areas that are in the Withlacoochee State Forest, the most popular one in my opinion is probably Half Moon. Half Moon Wildlife Management Area is very popular among local hunters. They love to go to the Half Moon Wildlife Management Area. You talk to anyone around here about hunting on the Withlacoochee River, the Half Moon Wildlife Management Area is bound to come up. Now that's where I killed this deer. I killed this deer in the Cabbage Swamp, not too far from the river, in the Half Moon Wildlife Management Area. I estimated that I put at least 20 man days to kill this deer. That may be a bit shocking when you look at the popularity that Half Moon has. When people talk about Half Moon, they talk about how great it is, but it may be somewhat overrated, and you can fall into that trap real easy. That a management area can get way overrated, and you'll get drawn for it. You'll apply, and you'll save points. And 3 days of hunting, after 3 years of applying, and you'll go and you'll not see a deer. And that's what I experienced. But I stayed with it, and over a period of, I don't know, 12, 15 years of applying and hunting, archery, muzzleloader, modern gun, archery, muzzleloader, modern gun, I finally killed my deer. Okay, I've got my Withlacoochee State Forest buck. I've got my Half Moon buck. Here he is, but it wasn't without hard work. You know, I earned him. All right, I just didn't go out and get in a stand and kill him. He was hard earned. And I'm real proud of that fact that I killed this deer on public land. And then I worked for him, and I learned a lot of lessons along the way. But I also had great experiences on every hunt. Okay, there weren't a lot of people, a lot of access, a lot of trails. What you'll find in the Withlacoochee State Forest is something called railroad beds. Railroad beds are reclaimed railroad where they logged the river for cypress trees. And the railroad beds run up and down the river, long miles and miles and miles of these railroad beds, which give us all access, okay, to the swamp. And they usually parallel all the way up and down the river. And they're quite handy. Some places are flooded, some places the railroad beds are no longer there. There were bridges over sloughs, and the sloughs have reclaimed those bridges. They're no longer there, so you'd have to wade across. But it's always an adventure and a great place to go. So I killed this deer at Half Moon. Citrus Wildlife Management Area is the only one that does not have the swamp habitat, but is still in the Withlacoochee State Forest. Okay, it's the Citrus Wildlife Management Area is in what county is that? It's not Sumter, but the next one over. It escapes me for the moment. Croom is also in the Withlacoochee. It's the furthest south. The Green Swamp Wildlife Management Area, that's the Green Swamp. West Unit and East is where the Withlacoochee State Forest begins. Potts Wildlife Management Area. Let's talk about Potts for a minute. Alright, so you go to the FWC brochures and you look up Potts, and you discover that Potts, by looking at the map, is right across the river from Half Moon. Okay? They were requiring quota permits to hunt Potts during the archery season. They have a short archery season. I think they have 2 hunts that are 3 days each, might be 4 days each. You'll have to check the brochure. And there's no quota permit required as it was in the past. They have lifted that requirement. So you can go to Potts and you can go bow hunting for deer. And again, it's the same habitat as the Half Moon. Of course, everything's a little different. It's a little wetter. It's a little lower. A lot of the areas are wet and swampy and flooded. Okay. Homosassa Wildlife Management Area is part of the Withlacoochee State Forest. Jumper Creek is part of the Withlacoochee State Forest. Now, Jumper Creek gets a lot of hunting pressure. Okay, a lot of people hunt Jumper Creek. But here's the thing about Jumper Creek: it's 10,000 acres, and the access is limited. That means there's a lot of swamp that doesn't get hunted. if you're adventuresome and if you're willing to go the extra mile and penetrate deep into the swamp, you got to be careful because you can get lost in there. Okay, people have gotten lost in the Jumper Creek Wildlife Management Area, and it's been days before a sheriff or somebody came along to look for them, and they finally found them. But Jumper Creek is a great destination. You need no quota permit to archery hunt in the Jumper Creek Wildlife Management Area. You can archery hunt that. You need a quota permit for the muzzleloader. You'll need a quota permit for the first 9 days. But after the first 9 days of modern gun, you can hunt with a management area stamp and hunting license. All right. Richland Wildlife Management Area is also part of the Withlacoochee State Forest. Richland has a late season archery hunt by my standard. They start the archery a little later on in the season. I think it's like October into November. The archery season is 30 days, right before modern gun. And if you wanted to archery hunt in some wilderness, okay, Richland is a great place to go. There's the Richland Beard Unit, which is just north of that, and it requires a quota permit to hunt. But it's back to back. I mean, there's habitat is the same. It's just a smaller area that they've designated as separate so they can have a better quality of hunt. Okay, there's no dog hunting in the Richland Beard Unit, so that's an advantage. It's an area that gets, you know, good archery hunting and good rifle and muzzleloader hunting without the dogs. Okay, if you're a still hunter. All right. Flying Eagle. Flying Eagle is across the river from Jumper Creek. All right. Flying Eagle has a lot of prairies. It too has flooded habitat, but it also has some upland. I've hunted it. It's a great destination. It goes down by the river, the Cabbage Palm Swamp. Great habitat. That's where I like to hunt. I like to hunt in Flying Eagle. I've not killed a deer there, but I've seen some deer, and I've seen turkey hunting. That's a great turkey hunting destination, is the Flying Eagle Wildlife Management Area. Okay, so those are the. Just to recap real quick: citrus, Croom, Green Swamp, Potts, Flying Eagle, Richland, Jumper Creek, Homosassa. There's probably one or two there that I've forgotten about, but didn't mention. But there's a lot of small wildlife management areas. Again, if you go on the website for the FWC, you'll find different management areas in different areas. Some of them are very small, and you can find out and look at the brochure and see what hunts are offered. Okay, so that's my take on the Withlacoochee State Forest. Like I said, I killed this deer in Half Moon, and it was after a real personal journey killing this deer. I had became familiar with a certain area and had seen deer in a certain area every time. Let me just say that you can kill a deer anywhere in the Withlacoochee State Forest. Habitat has some bearing, but not as much as you'd think. I would look for transition areas. If I was to look for an area to hunt, I would look for where the pines and the uplands met the swamp. Wherever you find those areas which transitions from one habitat to another, it's always a good spot to set up. I killed this deer down in the swamp because I thought that's where I needed to be. I walked down there just as far as I could go, and I'd gotten to the place to where everything was turning brown. Everything was dark and dank, and I looked this way and it was green and full of oak trees and palms, and looked this way and it was all full of gum trees and cypress trees, and you could hear boats down on the river. And that's where I set up. I sat in my tree stand. I made my way to my stand. Oh, I suppose it was 5:30 in the morning. It was at least 40 or 50 minutes before daylight. I had gotten there as early as I could, and I had set my tree stand up the day before, so I had planned to go and look for the stand early in the morning before the daylight appeared. And I successfully found my stand and got in it and sat there from daylight to 2:45. It was 2:45, and after 10 armadillos, 20 squirrels, and a crick in my neck from looking behind, I finally saw a doe. And a doe was moving through the swamp, and she would disappear and then reappear, disappear and reappear. And I watched her for a while, and that's the only deer I saw that day. And then this guy appeared, and then when I first saw him, all I saw was his rack moving through the cover. I could not see his body, and I saw the rack, and of course I got real excited and spun my gun around and prepared to find the deer in my scope. And I would guess he was probably 80 yards out, and he disappeared on me. The doe and the buck both disappeared, to the point to where I kind of felt like I let my chance slip, and put the safety back on and kind of made a plan for the next day. And suddenly I looked to my left, and there was the doe standing in an opening that was pretty good long ways away. It was probably 80 yards, 90 yards through the swamp. And when you shoot an animal through the swamp at 80 or 90 yards, that can be a long way. And I brought my gun around, and it was kind of a good thing, because I had calmed way down, because I had amped myself up after seeing the deer moving through the cover and was unable to shoot it. And I was unable to get it in my sights. All I did was just see him a couple of seconds here and there, and it was almost like, oh my God, there's a buck, right? So I could see the doe through a little opening that was probably, I don't know, pretty small. And she moved through that opening and disappeared. And I just took the scope and put the crosshairs on that opening. And our friend here stepped right into it and stopped. I can't explain it. I don't know. The good Lord just blessed me with this buck. Okay? Brought that deer through that cover, stopped him in that opening. I was dropped down behind the shoulder, clicked off the safety, and I let her rip, man. And he fell dead right there where he was standing. And I was pretty excited. I got pretty amped up. I probably waited, 30, 40 minutes before I got down. And one thing that I learned, that when you're in your tree stand and you're hunting in the swamp and it's thick cover, some of it is head high. Some of it is very dense and thick with vines and tangle that you got to maneuver through. So when you're in your tree stand and you shoot a deer, you see him go down, take out your compass. Get your compass and get a reading on where that deer is. If you saw him go down, you know where he's laying, because when you get down out of your stand, you get on the ground, you're going to be a little confused on which way to go. So I was pretty keen. I'm proud of myself that I was able to do that. I said, okay, this deer is at 120 degrees. So I just put my compass on 120 degrees and I followed it, and I went right to my deer, and there he was. And it was a good, like I said, it was a good 80 to 100 yards away. And he was laying there dead, and I could not believe what a great deer he was. I was so tickled to have killed this deer. So that's my Withlacoochee buck and my half moon buck. And somebody on the YouTube said they wanted to see my deer, so here he is. Okay. So I love you guys, and I hope this is helpful to you. Hunt the Withlacoochee State Forest. If you've got a management area near your home, become familiar with it. I would advise you to hunt a management area that you can hunt every year, all season. Gun, muzzleloader, and archery. The more you learn about a management area, the more it is to your advantage. Okay? You don't go in cold every time. You go in knowing this and that, and you putting pieces of the puzzle together, and that'll help you. Alright, we love you guys. We'll talk to you soon. I hope this video is helpful to you. Alright, see you. Bye.